They said it's gonna be here and it's gonna hit us, and I went home scared to death. A week later, we were shut down.
We're on an island. We are isolated.
Do we have PPE? Do we have appropriate masks, gloves, gowns? And we didn't.
We were just scared to death.
It was very hard, very challenging for all of the guys.
I was bored being stuck at the house, being alone.
Upset and angry that I can't leave the house yet because I'm in quarantine.
It was really scary, and I couldn't explain it to her.
Being away for that long for my family is just so hard.
They're entrusting the care of their kids to us.
We weren't getting any answers, and there was no end in sight.
It's just a nightmare.
I pulled it together. I'll pull it through. I use my coping skills.
It's the first time in 22 years, she hugged me, like really hugged me, and didn't let go.
The spirit of the guilt has been tested, has been changed. It's going to keep doing so.
Inclusion to me is being part of a group, being part of a community.
It's just so incredible. Like, I'm so blessed to be in such a great house, such a great school, such a great program.
We're all a family in this house. I think for the guild in general, like the other house is family. We treat each other like family.
So when I think about the spirit of the guild, I think of that ever-changing, growing, flexible culture that we have. We take trips, we go to work, we go to school, we go to stores, we meet the environment, head on.
We get to go to eat a lot. We go to the mall. We go a lot of good places.
During this pandemic, we had to make the worlds of the people we serve smaller. There had been a lot of rumors and muttering with government officials about what the school and congregate care response would be to coronavirus. But there had been no direct communication with providers. And then on March 15th, we saw a televised event with the governor that shut down schools.
That was the first time we started hearing about COVID, how people were being affected and people were dying.
And that's when we moved all of our classrooms into houses, when day programs shut down, and we became not just residential service providers, but also adult day programs.
At this point, we're on an island. We are isolated. You got to think this is the beginning of it. Nobody knows what to do. My shift was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then I would sleep. I slept in my car because I couldn't sleep inside the house. So I slept in my van for 23 straight days. Wow.
Do we have PPE? Do we have appropriate masks, gloves, gowns? And we didn't. And abruptly, our suppliers were like, oh, we're not going to send you 19 cases of gloves a week. We're going to send you 3. And that's a true story.
Parents started calling. Some parents calling with lots of questions, other parents calling, offering to begin making cloth masks, looking at what they can do.
Well, there weren't enough masks, so I was making them. I'm a seamstress. I was making them, hundreds of them, and sending some here, sending to family. And so we were just scared to death.
PPE was a thing that we didn't even know existed or was needed in our field, right? And we were trying to find out how to get it. And I know the Guild did a phenomenal job in terms of finding it, buying it, and inventorying it and trying to stock up.
There were lots of times during this pandemic, particularly the day that I had to tell families they couldn't visit their children, that there was nothing to do but be sad.
They're entrusting the care of their kids and, whether they be a grown adult kid or a young kid to us. And And, I'm trying to reassure them everything's going to be okay. Sorry.
Probably the hardest part was probably about 6 weeks in when we weren't getting any answers, and there was no end in sight.
And I don't even, I didn't know at the time, You didn't know how sick someone was going to get. You didn't know, you just didn't know. And I felt like I couldn't control a situation or an environment for both staff or the people we serve. And that stunk.
Onset doesn't seem like a big enough word, I guess, but it's the one that I have. I cried hard when I had to tell parents that they couldn't see their kids, that 12-year-olds weren't going to be able to see their mothers and their fathers for 85 days.
A social story telling them, explaining to them what is COVID and how it's going to affect us or affect them or affect the world.
The coronavirus started, and I'm afraid that I can't, and I'm upset and angry that I can't leave the house yet because I'm in quarantine.
We went on a lockdown. I think once or twice we had lockdown, and it was very hard, very challenging for all of the guys.
I hate being bored and not going anywhere doing fun things. I was bored being stuck at the house, being alone and not doing anything fun and just staring at a wall and being stuck and being bored in my room.
I hate COVID-19. Thumbs down.
As a parent, you always worry no one's going to love your kid like you do. No one's going to have patience for your kid the way you do. And they do. They love her, they take care of her, they look after her, and she's grown and become even more mature than we even expected. As the weeks progressed and seemed like forever that we could see her, we were fortunate enough to have a portal on our TV. So every night, staff would help Caitlin call, and I would read stories to her and sometimes the other people that live in her house. And we'd talk and sing songs, and we always say bedtime prayers.
I was a little worried because we do have our routine of every weekend, and every other weekend is an overnight at home. And holidays was usually 2 nights.
Really?
And I was worried about how you were going to handle that. Easter, right? You talked about coloring Easter eggs. You love to color Easter eggs.
And we did the egg hunt.
And we do an egg hunt, and that's what we usually do at home. But he handled it great. I think he did a really good job. They got eggs and did coloring. They took pictures. They sent them to me. He really, he handled it well. So if he's handling it well, I'm handling it well.
We met here actually early March to talk about health, which was kind of ironic, and about programs and with the nursing department. And it ended up all about COVID because it was heading our way. And they said it's gonna be here and it's gonna hit us, and I went home scared to death. A week later, we were shut down. At first, I was panicked, everyone was panicked. We weren't sure what was gonna happen with visits and all of that. And we kind of found out that we can't visit, we can't have her visit home, we can't do anything. No one could go anywhere. So it was really scary, and I couldn't explain it to her.
How do you say thank you? How do you let them know how important that is, that he needs to have to feel comfortable that he's at home since he can't really come home, and for them to just sort of do it and make all the boys feel good and doing Easter eggs. And I mean, how do you say thank you? I don't know how.
Some individuals were tested positive, and the fact that they had to be only in their rooms, isolation in their rooms for 14 or a couple of days, it affected them a lot. We had to be using the, how did they call it? Using the gowns, the mask and everything, wear your gloves. Before getting into their rooms, giving them food, you have to be well dressed to protect yourself, getting into their rooms. It was so scary to them. The fact that they see you all the time smiling with them and they're not able to see your face, or you're now dressed in a very strange way, getting into their room to give them food or to give them medications, it really traumatized them a lot.
But I handled it the right way, and I handled it like a man. I did not cry. I did not have a tantrum. I pulled it together. I pulled it through. I used my coping skills.
We were up trying to figure out how we were going to test people and quarantine people and protect staff members who contracted the virus but couldn't go home. How we were going to manage our medically fragile individuals. There was talk about how do we build a guild bubble, particularly on certain individuals who were very immune compromised.
We missed Easter, Thanksgiving, and it's just so sad because that's such a really important time for you to be with your family.
Even though I missed them, I tried not to freak out or scream or cry or have a tantrum over it. I'm hanging it together, I'm holding it in.
What we experienced during COVID was a long series of changes and adaptations at which we excel. But having to do this constantly meant that people got really tired and frustrated and overwhelmed.
For me, it was not able to go out and see my family and not go out for community activity.
It was the worst experience I've ever felt in my life. Like, being away for that long for my family is just so hard. It's very stressful. It's just a nightmare. It's not good.
I had to stay home. Boring.
I was like, like how much longer is this gonna go on? And then it got a little bit better. And then I can remember like around the holidays, like, oh, can I do this again? But we did it. And it seems surreal that we did.
Sure, our goal was not to stop providing service to these kids who are the most vulnerable population.
So there was a house computer in the dining area. So you would have access to it. Your bedroom became, the dining room became your bedroom. So you could have the computer. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
We did have Zoom activities most of the time, but also at the house we had a lot of things to do. We playing puzzles, doing physical activities like probably running a treadmill, doing yoga, doing some meditation.
Sometimes we would have movie night downstairs, and then whenever we had good weather outside, we would go in the back and walk around, try to play soccer.
I think the things that we did, sort of the day-to-day tasks, changed enormously, but who we are and what we do didn't change very much at all.
We treat each other, our family, like we look after one of each other. When someone's not doing good, we ask them, do you need anything? Do you want to talk? Simple things like that like can, make a person a little more happy.
In many ways, I think that the way this impacted the people in residential care and the people in the Guild's residences was to curtail their community life. The people we serve and the way that we work is to involve individuals in community as much as possible. So what changed for individuals with disabilities during the pandemic was a reduction of choice. Many of their day-to-day choices were taken from them.
One of the things that we've learned is that more people started to gravitate towards self-direction. And so the self-direction model is more driven towards them being in control of how they structure their day.
They choose what they want to do, like activities. We include them in the, for example, every week we come up with activities that they would love to go to. So we include them in that decision making, like we ask them, we have a meeting with them to ask them, where do you want to go to? They will tell you, and then we include them in the meal choices. The kind of food that they want, the kind of snack that they want. We come up with a grocery list and the menu based on what they want.
Steak and chicken, rice and beans. Haitian food. I love Haitian food.
Pizza and French fries and fish sticks and chocolate pancakes.
I want food, please.
Do you want to look? What are you going to have for lunch today?
Lunch. Vegetable.
Pizza.
Pizza. I love pizza.
I love the Thailand food.
The fact that they were not able to go out for the community activities affected them a lot. Just staying home and just between the kitchen, their rooms, and just being indoors, it affected them a lot.
And that felt to many of us like a throwback to a different time when people with disabilities were kept far away from public reach. And so it was a difficult time historically because it reflected so many other times in our history.
I do restocking, I clean the coolers, I do facing, I restock the coolers, I vacuum.
I think they were probably grossly underestimated of how they could manage this, right?
Individuals with disabilities, I think their resilience is underestimated, their ability to adapt to a life-changing situation.
I think they're underestimated in so many ways. They can come up with new ideas, they can be just as creative as we are. So to just look at them like they're human beings as well, respecting that and giving them the chance to grow, to express themselves is one of the biggest things.
When you work with them, you have that passion for them. They become like your family member. You treat them with so much love. And then sometimes when you go out in the community, you see people, when you're working with them, they want to be away from them. They're like scared to be closer to people like them. And it pains us, it pains me so bad because they're all human beings. Yeah, we embrace them with so much love and they feel it because they are people. When you love them, they feel it, they see it. You see the joy on their faces. It makes you feel good because they know you love them. Hope. When you think about hope, hope motivates you. It gives you reasons to live.
3 full months. 3 full months. And then finally the state said 15-minute visits outside with masks. So that meeting was quite awesome. She was really excited to see me and it was really special.
It's so good. Most of the restrictions lifted up is something that made the individuals to be very happy because it has given them the opportunity to be stepping out to do the same things that they used to do before.
We finally got to see Caitlin outside in her backyard for the first time. And Caitlin came down the stairs to the backyard, and I have to tell you, it's the first time in 22 years she hugged me, like really hugged me, and didn't let go.
We saw each other and she came running and mama, 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 and we sat on the swing and just swung and hugged for 15 minutes. Yeah, we did.
We were sitting on the picnic table and I asked her how she was and she went on her communication device and she said, "I feel happy."
Now that things are getting back to normal, You know, everyone's able to see their parents, everyone's able to go out and attend activities and have a good time. Like Aaron, he's able to see his parents, which I know that makes him happy.
I hope that they feel much more happier. They embrace the present moment right now and they go out and have fun. I just want them to have fun the way they used to.
Yeah, I remember one Saturday, almost a month ago, I remember going to a BAMS fest, so the Museum of Fine Arts, and what's it called, Juneteenth, that Saturday. It was fun.
The most recent trip that I can think about is Canopy Lake. We went there and that really felt good, a lot good to be there. They were able to go on the various rides. They were able to have the meals. We took a bunch, not even a couple of pictures. We took a bunch of pictures and you can see their expression. That was really a sign of relief that finally we are out. Finally, we can do what we used to do. So that was an amazing thing.
We went bowling, they were excited about that. We went to the movie theaters. Now they're going swimming a few times a week, which they really enjoy.
Hope. That's a big word. Hope, I would say it's whatever situation is happening, whatever situation you're facing, whatever situation you're in, don't give up. Just keep yourself calm and keep pushing because you know that there's gonna be a better tomorrow along the line.
Hope for me is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, I hope we can get back to where we were as far as inclusion and, you know, working with these folks for the communities to accept them and welcome them. We were getting there. And now I think people are just afraid. And I hope we can get back there. And also in the future, I hope that if this happens again, which it probably will, or something like it, that the higher ups, the state departments will include parents in on some planning and on some decisions that we might know best for what's best for them.
My hope is that they enjoy life to the fullest. No restrictions, however they want to live life. That is my hope, like for them to grow, for them to learn new things, experience new things, go new places. That's my hope for them to enjoy life.
My hope is that they will, that through what they're taught at the Guild, that they will be able to live up to their full potential and be as independent as they possibly can, be happy, healthy.
My hope is that we keep expanding our skills, we keep providing, I just want to improve the kind of support that the students are getting.
Hope is, I don't know, because it's difficult. But I'm just gonna try to pronounce it as best as I can. Hope, never give up. Never give up. And whatever comes towards you, like whatever, what's that word called? Whatever battles that come towards you, you just have to battle them and stay strong and continue. And, you know, don't let yourself down.